Well,
That's not real journalism.
True journalism is giving the full story and the facts.
Because you're trying to manipulate us. And we don't want to be manipulated, especially when we're just trying to watch sports.
They're a bunch of morons.
Zion Williamson, he wants to come to Chicago, man. He's gonna end up.
It's more concerned with making the All-Star team than winning a championship.
I don't think we're gonna get Zion. I don't.
Not Tom Brady fan. No.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about Tom Brady fans. No. I'm not talking about the complete donkey riding suckers out there. I'm not talking about that.
I told you guys so. I've been yelling about this since about week 4. I told you so. I told you so.
We're not related.
Get along. I hate this sumbitch.
This fucking masshole over here.
Seriously right now? Hold on, I just farted into this pillow. I gotta move it.
What's wrong with that? Yeah, you don't want to get some pink eye or nothing.
What's up, guys? Me and JD are back at it.
Good.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute since since I've been around. I had to take care of a bunch of some stuff around the apartment and some personal stuff and yeah, we're back at it though. Episode 24. This is going to probably be a little more NFL heavy than usual because it's the end of the season unfortunately it is the end of the season for the my Patriots and JD's Chicago Bears. I'll tell you one thing though, just because it's the end of the season doesn't mean that it stops for the Pats and the Bears. The Bears have been very busy, or they're going to be very busy. They are in search of both a GM and a head coach. JD, I just want to get your kind of like final thoughts on the 2020 season for the Bears and how you kind of saw it and your point of view.
Well, it was, to be honest, it was for me as an objective Bears fan, a Bears fan with a brain, I would say, and other Bears fans with brains. Like we kind of knew what this was, and I think it says a lot more that the people, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, who didn't understand what this season was, says a lot more about them, and that's why they're not the Bears. That's why they're fired. That's why they got fired. And what I mean by that is that if you are an objective Bears fan, you really look at like what the Bears have had, what they've done, and who they are basically over the last like 5-6 years, and you understand the roster and you understand the other players in the NFL and how they've drafted and the other coaches, then you would have known that we probably only win 5 to 7 games this year. But for some reason, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy thought we'd win a lot more, and they signed people. They signed like Robert Quinn, and they didn't fix the O-line. They thought this team was a lot better than it was. They were horribly, horribly wrong. So that is why they're no longer with us. That's why they deserve to be fired. And I've said that a couple of times is because, especially Ryan Pace, I think deserved to be fired. There's a lot of rumors that he was going to keep his job, and I was like, that's weird. And he didn't keep his job, so I wasn't surprised. Now going forward, I guess we can talk about that in a second. But the season was a building season from start to finish. You have a rookie quarterback, you have young running backs, you have young defensive guys. That's why a lot of the signings didn't make any sense. So next year will probably be another growing year too. But hopefully we can compete a little bit more in the division and not get wrecked by the Vikings and the Packers. That's really, if you can, honestly, all you got to do in the NFC North, man, is beat the Vikings and the Packers mainly, and don't suck against everyone else, and you'll be all right. So, and obviously beat the Lions, but that's what we need to do. We need to focus on our division and how to win our division. So, it was a growing year, and I knew it was going to be a growing year, and I honestly, it met my expectations. If if the coaching and the GM wasn't so, I don't know, arrogant, they weren't so wishy-washy, maybe they would have stayed. Maybe our opinion of Nagy wouldn't be so harsh, but it was and it is, and here we are. So now we have to pick up the pieces and move forward as a fandom. But how about your Patriots, my man? How did you feel about that first season with Mac Jones?
So you talked about being objective as a Bears fan.
Yes.
I do the best I can to be as objective as a Patriot fan. Like, I try not to be a homer fan. I really do. I try to be as realistic about it as possible. There were times where Mac really did get your hopes up because, and you saw like flashes like Justin Fields, you saw flashes of really good play. And then through the season, there were some games where you looked at it and you were like, yep, that's a rookie right there. Yep. That, you know what I mean? But that's the rookie roller coaster that I think, both of our teams, the Bears and the Pats, they were going to have to ride that roller coaster this year with how it was.
Sure.
I thought it was over. What did I say to you at the beginning of this year? I said 10-7 would be a good start.
Yeah, you said if we get 10-7, then who knows what will happen going forward. So I think that still applies. I think you were right about that. You kind of hit that one on the head.
And I mean, Mac Jones finished the year with 22 touchdowns and 13 picks with a completion percentage of 67.5, or a little over 67.5%. So, I mean, and he was the 20th ranked quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
As a rookie. I mean, so that's
not terrible.
I don't know. It's not like it's, I've said it to you a couple of times. Like, if where we are right now is the foundation block, right? Is the foundation of like the rebuild, like 10-7 and a playoff berth, getting into the playoffs. If that's like where we're starting from and we're just going to build on that, then that's a pretty good spot to start from. Now, if we broke it down farther, like you were saying, I do think in certain, spots, I think McDaniels and Bill were mostly Josh McDaniels. I think this year really exposed Josh McDaniels for I was talking to some friends about this, and I said, it's almost like Josh McDaniels benefited more from Brady than Belichick did.
Yeah, that's definitely
because
true.
Bill's a head coach and he oversees everything. He's got a lot. Where Josh worked specifically with Tom for so many years, over and over and over again, and that's all those two did. And being Tom Brady and being as good as he was, there were a lot of games this year, JD, where it showed where it's like, I think Josh's deficient ineffectiveness is probably a better word for it, was masked a lot by Brady's ability to just come to the line of scrimmage and audible out of a play that that he knew wasn't going to work. And like you had said something to me, like the Patriots were, what did you say?
Yeah. So the Patriots versus the Bills was an interesting game. In the first quarter, I think it was about 3 minutes left to go in the first quarter. The Bills scored again, and it was so easy the second time they scored. It was just so easy. So
right down the field. Right.
It was just, I mean, it was like butter through, or it was like a hot knife through butter. It was absolutely easy for them. And then they panned over. I remembered it right away because I was like, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. They panned over to the sideline of all the players, including Josh McDaniels. He's standing there like this. He's mad, and all these players, they look deflated. The Patriots do. They're down 14-0, and they look like they just got punched in the gut, and they're not getting back up from it. So what I thought to myself, I'm like, well, who usually gets the troops going in this moment? Because this has happened with the Patriots a ton of times. Been down 14-0 early on. Ton of times. This is the Falcons. I think the Eagles, they were down a little bit. This happens a lot This happens all the time with Bill Belichick teams. Like obviously he puts a really good team together, but ultimately sometimes you get exposed, just like every team. But the difference is with the Patriots over the last 20 years, 2 decades, over the last 20 years, there's been one man who's yelling up and down the sideline to the defensive guys, the offensive guys, no, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, getting them motivated. Like, for instance, when they were down 28-3 against the Falcons, who was saying, it's going to be a hell of a comeback? It was Edelman and Brady. Mm-hmm. You don't have those voices anymore. Those voices are gone. Nothing.
So you need someone to step up.
Someone has to step up. And to me, this is just the Patriots. The reason why they didn't come back in that game and they had no chance after like 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. That's when I knew I'm like, they have no chance to come back. I immediately knew. I was like, it's over. Is because they weren't fired up. They literally, and no one was stepping up to fire them up. Nobody was. The rookie's not going to say anything. He's a rookie. So who is going to step up?
And let's be honest, right? Nope. Mac Jones can't. He can't be that guy yet. He can't. Yet. Not as a rookie. You can't step up to a 3 or 4 or 5 year vet as a rookie. You just, not saying that he won't be able to do that, because I do see that fire in him. Like I do see him being able to do that, but like right now, he can only do so much, and it was just a combination of things that like the whole team, the team as a whole, I think JD hit a wall at the end of the season. Like a lot of the games at the end of the year for them weren't pretty. There was no rhythm in the offense. There was no. This year showed a lot of things that the Patriots, although they are good and solid on defense in certain areas, there's areas of that D that are very old and very slow and absolutely need to be addressed. Like this year showed a lot. It showed that there's definitely room for improvement on that team.
Well, it's impressive that they won 10 games and they don't seem like an overly talented team. Like they don't seem like anyone, especially the receiver position. Like the receivers on the Patriots are not very good. They're not very good at all, really. And somehow with a rookie quarterback, they've been able to win 10 games. So there's a lot to improve on. Like there really is. You can take Mac Jones to the next level, in my opinion. He can get better in the offseason. He can improve. Yeah. And I do see some potential around him or towards him, but I just don't think like right now they're ready to win. I don't even think next year they're ready to win, but maybe in a couple of years they will be. And it's interesting.
But see, that's what I've kind of been saying now for like the last like 5 or 6 weeks. If like I've kind of come to that realization, man, where it's like, okay, this is a building block year. They got their new quarterback. They got a whole new running back. They got a bunch of guys in the running back room. They tried their best to revamp the receiver room, which they got some solid pieces. Here's the thing with the receiver room, right? There's a lot of guys in there that they're a bunch of Robins, and we don't have a Batman yet. That's the problem with them. You know what I mean? And so I think that needs to be addressed. They need a true number one receiver for sure in the offseason. And there's just certain spots like the linebacking core, like a lot of games this year where we were run all over. Once a running back got into the second level, the linebackers, Jamie Collins, Donta Hightower, and Kyle Van Noy have been in this league for like 8 years. They're coming to the end. Like Donta Hightower has been in a lot of our guys. They're just old in certain really important spots, and they gotta fix them.
That final dynasty is coming to an end. Like that where they won 3 championships in the last like 8 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's coming to an end. And I think that it died really with Brady, but there was enough parts around there. And here's another thing, and you Patriots fans may not want to hear this, but I'm going to say it. I think they could take a step back next year. I think they could take a step back, and I think it's good if they take a step back, like long term. I think they should, like you said, clean house of all the old guys, kind of maybe get rid of the ones that are still worth something and sell fire sale. Get some draft picks, get some young guys in there, get some playing time, win 8 games with them, and then next year, then 2024 hits, or 2023, whatever it is, 2023, 2024 season, that's when I could see Mac Jones is the real leader of the team now, because I think it's important for your quarterback to be the leader of your team. And if he's not the leader of the team, it just doesn't look right. It really just doesn't look right. So
you want me to tell you something? It was important for him to get blown out like that. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because think about this. He came from Alabama. How many times do you think they got smoked like that at Alabama?
None.
Or practically maybe one time since he's been like that kind of a loss like that, to get just beat up and just really like have it taken to you, right?
Steamrolled.
He's got to learn how to digest a loss like that and say that's not going to happen again.
Yeah, I think it'll be part of his character building as a future quarterback. I think that makes a big difference. But I also think a lot of the blame too definitely has to go with Belichick, because you have to give him you can't give him no one to throw to over the top. And like the Bills they were doing everything. They were doing everything they wanted to.
No, the Patriots, it was bad. It was bad. The Pats defense couldn't, whether they were throwing over the top into the middle of they just I told you it just looked bad. Like it looked like they had just waved the white flag, like the white flag,
after
man.
The first quarter, yeah, it did.
Yeah, like it was just I don't know. It's
tough to see.
The Bills for the first time in a long time, I looked at that game and I was like, well, the Bills are just the better team. The Pats just ran into a better team.
They were ready for the moment too. I don't know if the Patriots were ready for the moment. It didn't seem like they had faith that they were going to win. Like the Falcons game, there was no doubt that they were going to come back.
Yeah,
even though they were down by 28 or by 25 points. So yeah, that definitely it says a lot when your team is giving up after 2 scores. It looks like they're giving up at least. It says a lot.
So the turning point in that game to me, right? The turning point in that game to me was on the second drive the Patriots had. They were driving down the field, and he went to go throw it to Hunter Henry in the end zone, and it was picked off right in front of him. The guy jumped in front of the ball, made an excellent intercept. It was just a great play. It was a great football play. The guy read Mac Jones perfectly, jumped right in front of him, and picked it off. Because if they score, it's 14-7, and it's back to a game.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
you know what I mean? The Patriots score there, and it's only 14-7, and they're only down 7. Instead, that interception, right? They take that interception and go back the other direction and make it 21-0. You know?
Yeah, and that's truly that's like the nail in the coffin when that happens, because how could you possibly, like, you were about to score, you're about to be within 1, now you're within 3 scores. That stabs you. It's like a gut punch. Yeah, like I was saying, it's like an absolute gut punch, and there's nothing you can really do. Any concerns about nepotism and Steve Belichick? So, DC, interesting question.
So Steve, I never liked the fact that Bill lets Walt. That is a good question. To be honest, I never liked the fact that Bill let his kid call plays as the D. I don't like that. I would rather have him just stick with Gerard Mayo and if you have 2 defensive coordinators, you don't have a defensive coordinator. That means no. I don't. That's something that's bothered me since it happened. No.
Well, I think also if your son is good enough to be a defensive coordinator, then someone would hire him as a defensive coordinator. You don't have to be the one to hire him. So that definitely says, it's like, is he doing it because he's your son? Or rather, are you doing it, Bill, because he's your son? Are you doing it because it's what's best for the team? And that is, that's what's best for the team.
And I see, and honestly, if like you need an honest answer to that question, because like honestly, at times, I look at Steve and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know, like I'm like just want to scream at the TV, like, what are you doing? You know, like I never liked that. That's one thing that really bugged me about
It's
this.
bad optics too. It looks bad as a leader because then if somebody has a problem with Steve, they automatically have a problem with Bill. There's no separating the two. It's not like this defensive coordinator pisses me off, but I love the head coach. No, there's none of that because that's his son. So if you don't like Steve, you don't like Bill, and because Bill loves his son because it's his son. So yeah, there's a lot of problems with that, definitely.
So just to but out of all this and the like, one of the other things too that really got me is I think it's time for a new offensive coordinator. I really do. I think, like I said to you at the beginning, man, I think Josh really benefited from Brady being with him for so long, and just I think Brady made Josh's job really easy. And now that he actually has like a rookie quarterback, and this don't like JD, you know, rookie. Hey, Walt, thanks for the $10 donation, man. Appreciate it,
buddy. Much love, Walt. Good question.
So McDaniels, I really do think that McDaniels benefited more from Brady than Belichick did. Like Bill and Brady, like their relationship was professional, and it was it was professional. Like they knew what they meant. They realized I think they realized pretty quickly what they were going to mean to one another. Like Bill drove Brady to be as good as he was.
Yes.
For the first 8 years of Brady being Brady, Bill drove and pushed him to be the quarterback that he is. And then the relationship just it evolved. But I really do think that Josh benefited the most, because now that you actually have a rookie quarterback, and this rookie quarterback, JD, you know, is looking at these defenses for the first time ever. You know what I mean? Like
a lot of them, yeah.
And a lot of these defensive coordinators, they can mix and match and disguise coverage a lot better than the college guys can. You know, that's
absolutely.
You know what I mean? So he's looking at this for the first time. And I think that's kind of, you add that into the aspect of, I think Josh's job was just made easy by Brady. And now that Josh doesn't have that security blanket and he actually has to really work at his job, it's showing cracks. It's showing cracks in ineffectiveness and deficiencies, you know?
It is. It's showing that I think Brady, if anything, by leaving New England and not retiring, he's just proving every single day how great he really was. Every time the Patriots, because clearly it's obvious that the Patriots' number one weakness was their wide receivers. And that's not a new problem. It's been their weakness.
It's been around for a long time. Yeah.
For 6 years they've had that weakness, and it's still hasn't been fixed. So and when Brady won a Super Bowl, maybe 2 Super Bowls with lackluster wide receivers, with 5th round pick wide receivers, with Chris Hogan, no offense to him, with Danny Amendola, no offense to him, even Julian Edelman, you could argue is somewhat of a lackluster talent, even though he evolved into something that, one of the greatest slot receivers of all time. But you could argue
Edelman is like an anomaly, because normally guys picked in his spot don't evolve and turn into what he did,
I think with Brady, he's not gonna be that guy. I think he'd be a good wide receiver probably, but I don't think he's Julian effing Edelman, with Super Bowl MVP Julian Edelman without Tom Brady. I just don't believe it. So he has all those problems.
Brady drove him. Brady drove Jules to be, Brady and Edelman drove each other,
Like Chris Bodette said, all those wide receiver open drop passes. It's we can't even put a lot of this on Mac Jones. Obviously, if Mac Jones was Tom Brady, then we could say, oh, well, Tom Brady didn't show up. But he's a rookie, so you have to rely on other guys too. You have to point the finger elsewhere. You can't just say, oh, the rookie, it's his fault.
No,
that would be ridiculous.
just to like close it out on the Pats, and then I want to get like your final thoughts on your Bears and just like
Well, we
where
can
the
finish it, though.
directions. Like I want to talk about the Bears a little bit too, because I think
Sure.
they're going to be really busy, man. They're going to be really
We can talk about head coaching candidates. So we got a long list actually.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
interesting.
So just to kind of close it out here on the Pats, this season showed a lot. I mean, it was a lot of ups and downs, man. It was a lot of ups and downs. There was a lot of flashes of what the team could, of brilliance. There was flashes of brilliance, and then there were times where they you could tell that they just didn't execute right. There's games where they were full of penalties, and the Pats, shot themselves in the foot, and it just didn't look very Patriot-esque. Bill Belichick led teams aren't supposed to make dumb mistakes. They're the ones that capitalize on other teams making dumb mistakes and win games. But I think this is just, the team is turning over. It's getting younger. These guys are going to have to learn, this is what you get from a young team.
Belichick is going to have to rebuild this thing.
Yeah.
A lot better than he has so far. So, and I don't think they've even gone through a rebuild, really. They just went through a transition period. But now it's time to actually take a look. And I mean, hey, Belichick is an amazing coach, the greatest coach of all time. I'm not even trying to just say, oh, it's his fault, he's not even good anymore. I would never say that. Belichick is still the greatest coach of all time. He still took a rookie quarterback to the playoffs.
That's the playoffs, yeah.
The playoffs. So, I mean, this team obviously, or rather this coach is, if you're rebuilding and you have 10 wins, I mean, how much are you actually rebuilding? You're more retooling. So, yeah, you got to retool this team. You got to get, I would say, a better pass rush, probably a more disciplined secondary, or rather just continuously develop the guys you have now, a few of them, the younger guys.
Yeah.
A lot of things to do.
So I do just want to throw this in there too. I've been doing a lot of how a lot of injury stuff comes out after the season. So Kyle Duggar played yesterday with 3 broken bones in his wrist.
How?
Or not yesterday, but Saturday. He played against the Bills with 3 broken bones in his wrist. They wrapped it up. They wrapped this big thing around his wrist and his cast. So I give him credit for that.
That's respect, yeah.
Matthew Judon. So Judon, one of our best acquisitions from Baltimore in the offseason, played the last 3 games, I guess, with a broken rib.
Wow, Judon did that?
Judon
no wonder
was playing through broken ribs. Damian Harris, for 6 games of this season, apparently had a grade 3 high ankle sprain that he was fighting through. So so
they relied on the kid. I mean, that's they had to.
That's what I mean. They put a lot of pressure on Mac Jones.
Yeah.
And I do think that we are going to see a change. Just in closing, I think there's going to be some major changes to the team. I don't think I think you're going to see a lot of these guys that are at the end of their contract go. I think Donta Hightower, who's been a Patriot forever, is going to be gone.
All Brady's teammates are gone.
A lot of it's going to be a turnover. I think this team is going to get turned over. They know that they need to get younger and faster, and it's a young man's game, man, and they got to evolve. And I do think that's what's going to happen. So let's transition to the Bears. You guys clean house, man. No more coach, no more GM. I'm getting alerts that and the Bears are looking, man. They are not being shy. They are interviewing everyone.
They are. They have a long list of candidates, apparently.
So, what do you think? What are your thoughts? Obviously, Pace and Nagy are gone.
Yeah.
They out of the list that. So I'm, apparently a couple of Patriots are on that list.
Yes.
2 of them in particular that I'm interested in. Josh McDaniels the Bears have shown interest in Josh McDaniels, and apparently they have already interviewed a member of the Patriots scouting staff named Elliot Wolf for the GM job.
I didn't know that. I didn't hear that one, but I've seen they did interview a lot of people. And yeah, I mean, if you're gonna pick from the Patriots, it's never a bad idea. I don't think, to give that a try. Give it a try. It doesn't always work out, but it's never a bad idea to give them a try. Going based on just what I've learned from I'm on a lot of Bears forums and stuff, and the fans, they're always arguing so much.
What's the heartbeat of the fan base? What do they think? What do they want?
People want Brian Flores, which I don't know yet. I don't know about that. My initial reaction when Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace was fired was, okay, let's get in someone who's perfect for Justin Fields. And I still think that guy has to be, if you can swing it, is Jim Harbaugh. It has to be Jim Harbaugh is my number one. Number two, I like Brian Dable. I like Eric Bieniemy. I wouldn't mind Gerard Mayo. I wouldn't mind a Brian Flores, I guess. But he's not like high up on my list. But yeah, there's a lot of people who want Brian Flores, I think. And I think it's like just because he had a winning streak at the end and his defense is pretty good, it's like, yeah, maybe we'll do that. But there's just a lot of division. And ultimately, I hear a lot of things about George McCaskey, who's technically like the president right now of the Bears. Like, I guess it's not his mom, it's him, it's George. So, like, that guy, he I guess is consulting Bill Polian. So he's asking Bill Polian what he thinks he should do. So Bill Polian is pretty much calling the shots for the Bears right now. And you could choose a worse guy to ask for a consult, but I think ultimately whoever Bill Polian likes, that's probably who's going to get hired. So it could be really anyone. It could be somebody from the Patriots. It could be Brian Dable. It could be Brian Flores. It could be Eric Bieniemy.
Dable might be interesting because of he's taken the Bills' offense to like a different level. Like, that might be Dable and Justin Fields might be an interesting comp. You know what I mean? An interesting combo.
So. Well, if you play a little bit I think Josh Allen and Justin Fields are pretty similar. Josh Allen's obviously like huge. He's like 6'7" linebacker. Yeah. And Fields is 6'4" or whatever. He's still pretty big. I don't think he's going to run as much with Fields, but at the same time, Fields is more accurate, I think, than Josh Allen sometimes is. It depends on the throw. That one throw in the back of the end zone was insane, though. But I think that he has a lot. Like, when Josh Allen entered the league, he was not accurate at all. But
no, Allen has like evolved his game into something else. He's good.
Amazing.
But I think that combination of Dable and Fields could be. I think that would really like supercharge that Chicago offense. Like, I think they would be more like, all right, Justin, it's gunslinger time. You know what I mean? Like they would just let him be him,
I would like to see it. I mean, I'd be okay with almost anyone. I just want a change of pace. I want less wishy-washiness.
Yeah.
I want like less talking to the media, less stories. Just get down to business and win some football games. And if you don't win football games, that's fine. Like, that's the thing. Like, us Bears fans, we like to pretend that we're the Patriots fans, but we're not. It's like we like to pretend that, like, oh, well, we're a storied franchise. It's like, dude, we suck. We haven't been good since the turn of the millennia. Since before that, like 10 years before the turn of the millennia. So, and then I guess a little bit in 2006. But it's like we need to lower our expectations and play the long game. Like, okay, we got this kid, Justin Fields. He has potential. Build around him. Build an O-line. Give him the tools he needs to succeed, and then if he sucks, then you can move on from him. But don't just
I think if you put a decent line in front of Justin Fields, he's going to be okay. I think he'll be okay. But like, you can't put a rookie. Me and you talked about this a lot. You can't put a rookie behind that offensive line and expect him to really, like, you know what I mean? Like that offensive line for Chicago struggled this year.
It was a bottom 5 offensive line in the league. And you have oh my God. You have a young quarterback who has a ton of potential, but doesn't have all the knowledge, right? He has all of the tools, the intangibles, but he doesn't have the tangibles, the things that you earn, the things that you learn.
Yeah.
And it's like not everyone is Justin Herbert, right? Most people are Dak Prescott. Most good quarterbacks are Dak Prescott. Like Justin Fields, he has the potential to be a little bit better than Dak Prescott, in my opinion. He's not going to be Justin Herbert. He's not going to be Herbert. He's not going to be Mahomes. He's not going to be like Andrew Luck. He's not that guy. Justin Fields is not that good. And I'm saying that as a Bears fan. He's not that good. He is good. He has the potential to be really good. But the reason why Dak Prescott was successful in his first 2 seasons was because he had the best offensive line in the entire league.
Yeah, because he had protection around him.
And he learned everything along the way. And now he doesn't necessarily need as good of an offensive line. And he doesn't, and he can kind of, he obviously still struggles at times, but ultimately he helps his team win like 13 games. So that's what we need to. That's what we need to do. We need to build around Justin Fields, his potential, versus trying to make him fit into a box. Allen Robinson, which I don't like Allen Robinson because of his attitude and his crappy attitude, but he did say something on Twitter I thought was very interesting. He was watching the Chiefs game and he was saying, "Man, it's amazing how like all of these different routes and these creative routes really work in the NFL. It's weird." He was like taking a shot at Matt Nagy, basically. Yeah. And there's a lot of truth to that. Like there is some truth. Like, hey man, if you kind of were creative and did things more creatively, it's weird.
But you had said that a while back too. You had said that about the Bears offense, that it was very like vanilla and just like you want to see some more, dynamic. You want to see some dynamic, some flow to it.
Not be able to predict your plays. Yeah. And it's weird because with Trubisky, Matt Nagy was so creative and he was so like elusive and he had all these smoke and mirrors and he hid Trubisky's flaws and he did all this stuff for Trubisky and he rolled them out. But with Fields, he's just like, all right, go make a play. And it's like, I mean, like, yeah, you want to do that because you want to give him that experience, but you also don't want to set him up for failure. You also should put him on the bootleg more often. Give him some time to think. Let things break down a little bit for him instead of just like expecting this kid to evolve in front of our eyes, which he did against the Steelers, to be fair. And that's a good defense. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm not ready to give up on Fields at all. A lot of people are already like, he sucks. He's done. He's trash. It's like, I'm not ready to give up.
Listen, no quarterback could do well behind that offensive line that Chicago had. No one. No quarterback in the NFL would be able to do well with an offensive line like that. With a bottom 8 offensive line? No. Yeah. No.
They don't.
I don't care how good you are. You know what I mean?
Justin Herbert is the only guy that had a bottom 5 line and was still successful. Like he's like the only guy that I've ever heard of. Like, no, it just doesn't happen. It really doesn't happen. So, and I think Justin Herbert will be one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the entire league soon. So Justin Fields isn't that guy. I'm hoping he can be a top 10 someday. That's what we need to realize and shoot for and hope for. Like we need to. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Nobody has a worse offensive line than we do.
That's very true. The Steelers did have a bad offensive line.
Yeah, they did. They had so many penalties. Oh my god! Like, especially against the was it the Vikings? Oh my god, that was one of the worst games I've ever seen. I do remember that actually.
So let's stay with football and let's talk the game that was on the game that was on last night, the Cowboys. Let's talk some Dallas Cowboys.
For sure. I have a lot to say about that game. Yesterday, right? They played. Yes, Dallas played yesterday. Yeah. They're starting to kind of get a reputation, or they've had a reputation, and the game yesterday kind of like just really like cemented what they are. Like they're just they cannot win they have not been able to win a high pressure, situation, prime time, must win game in like 25 years. When the lights are the brightest, that's when the Cowboys tend to just collapse and they
they fold in on themselves, and it's like you watch two separate teams.
I don't understand why. The first thing I want to say about that game is I don't understand why they weren't running more. It felt like the short routes and the running and the screens seemed to be working against the Niners.
Yeah.
And whenever Dak stood in the pocket for more than 3 seconds, he was eaten up by Bosa. So it seemed like the quick plays were working, but they just abandoned them, and it was weird. So that's something I definitely don't understand. That's the coaching. That has nothing to do with the players. That's just like, hey, this is working, but we're not going to do it anymore. All right. Well, that's strange. Anyway, so yeah, that was weird by Kellen Moore for changing that up. Obviously, we could talk about the last play. We'll talk about that in a second. That was wild. But another thing I noticed about it was that Dak and his receivers were off. They were just a little, just a few feet centered. Like their chemistry it seemed like they hadn't practiced much. That's something that like stuck out to me. I was like, well, the defense is playing pretty well for the Cowboys. I noticed that for real. Like, but they didn't have good time of possession. The Cowboys didn't. So the defense was on the field a lot, but they were still playing pretty well. They gave Jimmy G some fits a few times. So the Cowboys defense is fine. You can leave that alone. I'm focused on the offense. You paid Dak Prescott $40 million to be the guy, and he is missing guys now. Obviously, his receivers dropped quite a few passes. That's like maybe 4 or 5. And these are supposedly really, really good at wide receivers. But my thing is, like, if you're paying him $40 million, he better be on the money every single throw.
Hey, listen, a $40 million guy isn't a first-round exit every year.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And I don't blame Dak. Like, I don't blame Dak for this loss, but Dak could have overcome if he was a little better. Like, if he was a little bit better and he made a few more plays, if he made a few more perfect throws, or his guys caught just 2 more passes, that could have been a completely different ballgame. It could have been completely different. Now, if you ask me, if there's one person to blame, it's the coaching staff. If there's one entity to blame, it's the coaching staff for sure.
Yeah. No, I 1000% agree with you. And here's a hot take for you, right? This is probably going to piss off Cowboy fans, but maybe Dak just isn't that good. Maybe he is what he is. Maybe he's a 4th-round quarterback, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think I said this like right before they were going to sign, like a long time ago. I was saying, like, dude, he's not worth that much money. Now, again, I'm not blaming him. Don't think I'm blaming him, Karam. It's not Dak's fault they lost. But again, if he's $40 million guy, like, okay, put Aaron Rodgers in that situation. Take out Dak Prescott.
He elevates that team and wins that game.
He's going to win that game. Aaron Rodgers
wins
that game every single time. Tom Brady wins that game Peyton Manning wins that game every time. There's a list of guys.
$40 million guys don't lose that game.
Even if their coaches fuck them over like Dak did, they are not going to lose that game. I'm just saying they're not going to lose. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Now, Dak, again, it's not his fault. He's a good player. The guys missed passes, blah, blah, blah. But again, the price tag and the skill level, I don't think it matches. I just don't think it matches.
It's not even close. When they signed him, he had not won a major. He had not won like a high pressure game yet. And I'm telling you, dude. Maybe
he won one playoff game, didn't he?
Yeah,
well,
it was like one. One playoff game.
But it wasn't. I don't think that there was a lot of pressure on him in that game. I think they were just steamrolling in that game. If I'm right.
Maybe, like I said earlier, dude. Maybe Dak is what he is. Maybe he's just a 4th-round quarterback. You know?
Well, I think he's a worse version of Russell Wilson. Like he's a good quarterback. Russell Wilson is a good quarterback who slowly became a great quarterback. Can Dak slowly become a great quarterback? Yeah, maybe. Sure, whatever. He's only like 27. He could maybe, in the next 5-6 years. But right now, he's not worth $40 million.
And here's the other thing too, right? Until, and I've said this before too, until until Jerry Jones is gone, and I mean like in the ground, gone, right?
Damn.
The Cowboys are not, because he has got to be involved with everything that they do. He can't. Here's why the Cowboys are never going to win a championship until he's gone. Right? Because he's always got to have his fingers in everything. You know,
cookie jar.
He can never just the good GMs. Right? Here's the thing. Right? When the Packers, the Patriots, the Steelers, right? All these multiple Super Bowl winning organizations, right? What is the one thing that their owners do?
They hire someone and they let them do their job. They
sit back and just go like this and let the football people do the football things. And all good owners are there to do is simply monitor the money. That's it.
Yep. I agree with that 100%.
Stay out of the football business.
It's not their job.
Not what they do.
Karam says the dumbass coaches and stuff. So yeah, I think before I get into that, I will say this. I'm sorry to say this, Cowboys fans. I've already said something bad about the Patriots fans, but I'm sorry to say this. I think that was your chance. I think the window is shut. I think that's just shut. I'm not saying forever, but I don't think it's going to open again next year. You got Dan Quinn probably going to accept a head coaching job. You got Kellen Moore, who maybe he stays, whatever. But that, I don't know. I just think the window's closing for them. Now, they are getting better. They do have some defensively. The Cowboys are getting better defensively.
But I agree with you that it's coaching. They have more coaching. Talent. They have, that whole roster is an all-star team. You know what I mean?
And they just weren't prepared. Like Karam said, they had a bunch of penalties. That final play. You know what? Let's talk about the final play since we're going on to coaching. That's it. Did you see the final play?
Yeah. The QB draw with 14 seconds left and no timeouts.
Come on. That's just not smart. And the worst part about it is, I'm pretty sure he just made 3 sideline throws. Dak goes sideline throw, sideline throw, sideline throw. And then they're like, all right, guys, I know we only have 14 seconds left or whatever it is, 20 seconds, but I'm going to run it up the gut. I don't think that was a good idea. That just doesn't make any sense. That simply doesn't make any sense. So,
but see, here's the thing too. This is why I say what I say about Jerry Jones, right? Because they're kind of talking about it in the chat too. Is Jimmy Johnson was an alpha personality. That dude commanded a room. He commanded the locker room, the team. You know, when he walked in the room, you knew. Like that's a football guy right there. You know what I mean? He commanded a room. And Jerry Jones hated that about him because he had that alpha personality. And Jones didn't like that because he had to be the only alpha in the room. And what did he do? He forced Jimmy out and Jimmy left, Jimmy
Johnson was the first guy to start. Who's the first? He revolutionized the entire league. He's a genius. Jimmy Johnson was. He's the first one to trade guys for draft picks. He traded Herschel Walker for a bunch of draft picks, turned those draft picks into 3.5 or 3 Super Bowls, and I'm pretty sure they made more or something like that.
He turned the Herschel Walker. He turned that trade. He turned that trade into a dynasty.
Yeah, he turned a trade into a dynasty. It's like that. If you would have kept that guy, and somebody else said Bill Parcells, both of those guys, man. Like you would have already won like at least 2 more Super Bowls. Bill Parcells is like Bill Belichick. He's a lot like Bill Belichick.
And I've been hearing,
he puts in a system and it works.
I've been hearing a lot of stuff too, and it from, a lot of the guys, the talking heads, the stupid people in the up at ESP, and their biggest question is are the Cowboys gonna be like, is this their identity? Is this their identity? Can they just not win, big high pressure games? And until they get the regime right, and I'm talking like owner, coach, and GM, and this is what I think this is just going to happen. It's going to be literally like Groundhog Day, dude. They're going to go through the regular season. They're going to be a regular season monster because they're clearly the best team in their division. You know what I mean?
Well, man, I just want to say that I don't think that the Jones family will ever leave. I don't think that they're ever going to sell the team. And there's one reason why. Business is booming.
Yeah.
Business of the Cowboys is booming. So until the fans stop caring about the team or, boycott it in some way, burn their jerseys or something like that.
Or just stop going.
Just stop going to the game, which that's never going to happen in Dallas. So until that happens, you won't see any significant change. It's going to be Jerry Jones sticking his finger in the cookie jar constantly because he's making money, dude. But I do think that if Jerry took a huge step back and Steven was the owner, you could change the culture a little bit because Steven ultimately, I think that – I missed the Lake Show. Not yet, Valhalla. You haven't missed it. I think that you could get somewhere with it. The Cowboys could win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. It is possible. I will bang that drum forever. If the Ravens can win with Joe Flacco and with Trent Dilfer, then the Cowboys can win. But here's the thing. You need to have a really good team then. If Dak Prescott's your guy, your team needs to be ridiculous. And they need to be really good on the defensive end too, because I don't think he's going to – Dak Prescott had an opportunity, probably 2 opportunities in that game to say, all right, I'm going to win this one. This is on me. I'm going to win this one. And he missed a few throws, and to his his receivers dropped him too. It wasn't all on Dak, but he didn't get it done. $40 million, didn't get it done. Here we are. Cowboys fans are disappointed, and they're ready to riot, and I don't blame them. But it's just the Cowboys have made huge improvements, and I think they will continue to make huge improvements. I think that Dan Quinn, honestly, this is what I would do. I'd fire Mike McCarthy and hire Dan Quinn. I'd say I'm not going to let that man leave my building. I'm not going to let Dan Quinn go to the Bears or go to somewhere else. I'm not going to let that happen. So if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm saying, all right, Mike, it's been fun, but I have Kellen Moore as my offensive guy. Don't need you. See ya. And I'd hire Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, he could change the culture. Now, do I think that would automatically fix everything? Probably not. But they might be a little bit more buttoned up than they were because they were not buttoned up. That's a problem.
The reason the Cowboys lost most of the Cowboys' losses came from undisciplined, stupid mistakes in games.
Yes. And that's a shame. That's a shame. I really thought the Cowboys had the overwhelming talent this year. I really did. I thought that
they have enough talent to be an NFC title team. They just don't have the right leadership.
I agree. And Dak was given the opportunity to take the game over, and he didn't take it.
And he couldn't. Yeah, and he
couldn't do it. Well,
so let's kind of talk about a team that's flown under the radar for a lot of this year, and they kind of do because I still think people don't believe in them, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh yeah,
they beat the Raiders. They beat the Raiders in the first round of the playoffs, and they are moving on. Can they seriously make noise this year, or what do you think about them?
Well,
are they kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing?
Oh, wolf in sheep's clothing. I think they might be. Well, one thing that I would say is it's not going to be Joe Burrow that is the reason they lost. He has the greatest composure I've ever seen from anyone under the age of 25. Ever, dude. Like, I've just never seen someone with that much composure besides maybe Tom Brady. So his composure is through the roof. He is not afraid of the moment. He is smooth as silk. He finds his guys in incredibly accurate windows. So it's not going to be Joe Burrow that holds him back. So can they make noise? Yeah, they can take it all the way. Will they? I don't know. I think they need a little bit more experience. I think they're a little too young. So we'll see what happens. We don't know who they're going to face, right?
I don't.
I think we find out tonight.
I think we find out tonight. I think we find out tonight who they're going to play. I'm with you on that though. Like you said exactly what I was
Oh no. I'm wrong. Nope, they're facing the Titans. So we can talk about that for a second.
Okay, Bengals. Okay,
They're
so they are facing. Okay,
locked
so
in.
we do know. Okay, I'm with you when you said that the inexperience is what ultimately is going to get them. I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think that because we know as you get farther into the playoffs, the pressure gets ratcheted up more and more, and the caliber of team that you face is better and better and better. So they beat that. Level 1 is done. Now they're on to that next level, and you're going from that wild card level is, yeah, okay, you might be playing another team that just snuck in with the Raiders. Now you're going to play a powerhouse like the Titans. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
but here's the thing, right?
I don't know.
If the Titans beat the Bengals aren't going to go without a fight. That's a scrappy team.
I might take the Bengals, man. I might take the Bengals, and here's why. I like their deep game. Obviously Derrick Henry could just completely crap all over me there, but he's been hurt all season. So how much is he really? I mean, I'm sure he's still good. I'm sure he's still, Derrick Henry. But I think after last week's performance from the receivers and the quarterback of the Bengals, I don't know, man. I'm actually going to lean. I'm going to lean towards Bengals here because if you're asking me who I trust more in the playoffs, is it Joe Burrow or Ryan Tannehill? I'm going to go with the kid. I'm going to go with that kid is cold. He's as cold as ice. So he's got ice.
And Burrow has shown through the year that the pressure, he's fine with he's fine with high pressure situations.
So, and I don't trust Tannehill. Tannehill's all over the place. Obviously the Titans are a really good.
That's also a really good point because it's like, which Ryan are we going to get? Miami Ryan Tannehill, or are we going to get the Ryan Tannehill that beat the Pats?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing with Tannehill too. Every Titans fan knows this too, that they're on the edge of their freaking seat because it's like, is he going to turn back to that Tannehill or not? Or, you know what I mean? It's always on edge with him because you just, I don't know. I just can't trust him.
He's a guy where if his team is playing really well, he's playing really well.
Yeah.
Kind of like Baker Mayfield. It's like if his and Dak Prescott, if his team's playing really well, he's playing really well. But can he, when things get hard, when things get really tough and the chips are down, Joe Burrow, when the chips are down with Joe Burrow, he looks like he's about to just rip your heart out. When the chips are down with Ryan Tannehill, he looks a little frazzled in the pocket. And he looks like he's frantically looking left and right and everything. From what I've seen of him, yeah, he said the Titans are going to give this Cincinnati a healthy dose of Henry. If that happens, I think the Titans will win if they stick to their formula. But if the Bengals can kind of knock him out of their formula, make him play left-handed just a little bit, I like the down the field play of Chase and Burrow.
That's the other thing too is one of Cincinnati's greatest assets is that Burrow and Chase connection, and it's not they're gonna give Jamar Chase is gonna give any cornerback, even a good one in this league, a run for their money.
Yeah, and Valhalla says, they're more than just Burrow. They have Mixon and Chase and Higgins. Yeah, they have. Yeah. That's what I was saying. The whole wide receiver core, and then they have a solid running game. Now their offensive line is still wishy-washy. We'll see, but it doesn't seem to affect Burrow that much. The defense is what I will say about the defense is against the Raiders, they were swarming. They were they're high energy defense, and I think that bodes well going into the next week. They just had that really big win against the Raiders. That's going to be a game I'm going to watch from start to finish. I'm really excited about that one. That'll be an interesting game. I really don't even know who's going to win, but I'm going to lean the Bengals just because of how great they looked in the first game.
So I'll say this about the Bengals. When they do go up against the Titans, if the Titans do beat them, since he's not going out without a fight, they're not going out. They're not, if they're going down swinging.
Yeah, no question. I agree. And I don't think any of them are phased at all by the moment. And I think this is a different Bengals team than the Carson Palmer and the Andy Dalton. It's just a different look. It's a different look. Like they're so explosive and they're relentless. It looks like they have a million ways to beat you offensively and defensively.
Well, the thing what I think too. You know what they were missing all those years when they were really bad? Grit and fight and scrap and you know what I mean? Like they're a scrappy team, man. They're a scrappy team. On any given Sunday, they can hang with anybody, you know?
I agree. And I do think it comes down to the quarterback. And I know it's not the only reason they're good. I'm aware of that. But I mean, when it goes back to the Patriots, the chips are down. It's 0-14. You look to the guy who can score the points for you. What's he look like? Well, he's a rookie. Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we look to Joe Burrow. He's not a rookie, but he's young. But I just have faith in that. I really do.
Yeah.
If I'm his teammates, I'm like, well, we can win any game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they beat the Chiefs a few weeks ago. This team can beat anyone on any given Sunday. So it'll be very interesting.
So let's talk about the team that they beat, the Raiders, because they've been through the freaking ringer this year, dude. That team has been through a lot this year.
Deserve a lot of credit.
And so they have the whole Damon Arnett situation and the Henry Ruggs situation happened to him earlier. I think that's what derailed them for a long that took weeks and weeks and weeks to get that team back on track and playing right. I think that really did mess them up for a good part of the season.
I agree. I think it blindsided them. And I think that the John Gruden thing definitely, I don't know if it affected the locker room, but I'm sure it wasn't helpful. I'm sure, the lack of consistency wasn't helpful. But I think there's also, beyond all that, I think there was a rallying cry. Like, oh, no, now nobody thinks we can do it. Nobody thinks we can make the playoffs. And I think that they rode that. And I have to give credit to one person. And I know I've been talking about quarterbacks a lot. But Derek Carr, I saw a lot of Derek Carr hate after they lost. Did anyone watch that game? Derek Carr was barking at everyone. He looked like Tom Brady out there. He was screaming and barking and keeping his team in focused and motivated, and he was getting everyone in position. The reason why they had what was it? They were down like 2 scores, and Carr they had to take a penalty. They had to take they ran the clock all the way down. They had to take a late call penalty.
Yeah, like a delay of game or something.
Delay of game. Thank you. They had to take a delay of game because Carr was just screaming. Everyone's like, no, that's not what I want. He's just screaming and screaming and screaming. And then finally, the next play that they get, he gets what he wants. He goes to the coaching staff and goes, yo, I want this. Touchdown. Literally just touchdown, 40 yards. So Derek Carr is a very good player. It says Derek Carr's trash. That's not true. Derek Carr is a very good very good player. The Raiders are trash, but Derek Carr is a very, very good quarterback. So just based on he's like the Chris Paul of football. He really is. He is such a gifted play caller, field general, leader. It's just he's not overwhelmingly talented, so nobody kind of gives him that love, and his team is consistently trash. And he dragged their dysfunctional, half of them are in jail now, and one of them's fired asses to the freaking playoffs by himself, pretty much. Yeah, the organization is trash, Greg John says.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I like Derek Carr is getting a lot of hate, but I put a lot of that more on it's an organizational thing. The Raiders are a freaking mess. Derek Carr is just trying to deal with the hand that's dealt to him. And here's the thing, right? A change of scenery might be good for him. I don't think he stays in Vegas. If somebody offers them, something that they like, I could see him moving.
He would be really good in Denver. He'd be really good in anywhere that just has consistent leadership from the front office perspective. When I look at Mark Davis, I look at a guy who's like he's like a kid who like inherited a bunch of money and a bunch of power.
Mark Davis is the kid in school that got a star sticker for not crapping in his pants for the day.
He looks like it. He really looks like it. I mean, he's a millionaire who's got a bowl cut. He looks ridiculous. So when that's your owner and he's the one responsible for putting a team around you, for hiring people to put a team around you, I just don't think that I can't blame you for like not for not being that successful.
He does. Davis looks like the kid in school that got a star sticker next to his name every time he didn't shit his pants for the day.
Oh my God. I'm pretty sure there was another receiver too that they could have drafted, but they wanted Henry Ruggs. And if they would have, I forgot who it was. It wasn't Jamar Chase, or was it Jamar Chase? I don't remember. I don't think it was Jamar Chase.
I don't think it was Chase.
No, it wasn't. But there's a few receivers that they could have drafted. I remember reading about that, and I was just like, you Raiders.
So do you think it's safe to say that Carr is a little underrated?
Oh yeah. And honestly, you could argue he's the MVP this year. I would argue that he's at least top 5 MVP candidate because like this.
Here's the thing, right? The Raiders fans have been screaming about. I think they should be directing. A lot of the Raiders fans should be directing their like disgruntledness towards ownership. You know,
I agree.
Like they're the ones that listen. Ownership's the one that brought John Gruden on for 10 years. That was an experiment at best, right? That was an experiment at best. They're the ones that drafted these questionable, the ownership is the ones that draft these guys. If they have questionable past and they still decide to draft them, that's on them. They should direct, don't direct it at Derek Carr has done everything he's tried to keep them in it. And he's a team player. I don't think they should direct that hate towards Carr. He's just trying to do what he's just trying to deal with he's just trying to deal with the hand he is dealt.
And he's done it gracefully, man. Like so gracefully. Like whenever AB was there, like I remember watching the Hard Knocks and just Derek Carr was just the first guy to, hey, Antonio, nice to meet you. Like I can't wait to, be your quarterback. And then AB treated him like shit. And then John Gruden treated him like shit. I'll never forget that. John Gruden was so mean, rude, and stupid and ignorant towards Derek Carr. I'll never forget that. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Walt. We really appreciate you, buddy. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate it, Walt.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, man.
But he was so stupid and ignorant and mean towards Derek Carr. That's why I never really liked John Gruden and why I wasn't really surprised when all this stuff came out about him. I remember watching that Hard Knocks where John Gruden was just cursing out Derek Carr and treating him like shit. I'm like, dude, he's your only good player. Like, if you're going to treat him like crap, you probably treat everyone like crap. So I don't think John Gruden, he's a piece of crap. And the ownership is a piece of crap for hiring him. So I definitely think the Raiders are crap. They really are. And Derek Carr is the only diamond in that crap rough. He's the only thing that's good. And if he was on the Broncos, the Patriots, probably the Niners.
It wouldn't surprise me if he ended up in Denver because they've been looking for a quarterback forever.
If he was on any one of those teams, even the Cowboys, if Derek Carr was on the Cowboys yesterday, they win that game. Derek Carr's on the Cowboys, they win that game. It's a fact. That's just a fact. And I'm sorry if people don't want to hear that, but Derek Carr is better than Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
He's better. He's a better quarterback. So a lot of people don't want to say it because it's the Raiders, and the Raiders suck though. It's like, yeah, the Raiders do suck, but Derek Carr is pretty darn good. So I don't know. He does not get enough credit where credit is due. He definitely doesn't. He's a good player.
Yeah, no, he's very good. He's very good, and he's consistent. He's consistent too.
He really is. He's consistent. He's a comeback machine. When everything breaks down, when the play structure breaks down, when the game plan breaks down, Derek Carr is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this league. He is. He's going to yell at you. He's going to get you in place. He's going to put things around you, or he's going to throw you open at times. He is a lot better than people give him credit for. Darren Waller and Max Crosby, yeah, they're really good players too. No, the Raiders have a couple good ones. It's just their coaching staff and their ownership is so dysfunctional that Derek Carr, if he needs a good team around him. But think about this: before the Raiders had Derek Carr, when did they go to the playoffs? When did they go to the playoffs before Derek Carr? They've been to the playoffs like 3 times in the last 8 years since he's been there.
Yeah.
When did he go before that? Never. So there's only one denominator here. It's not the coaching staff. That's for damn sure. It's definitely Derek Carr is the reason why they go to the playoffs. It's only reason people care about Prescott is because his ankle looked like a twig.
Yeah. When he
I think it's just because he's a Cowboy. I really do. If Dak Prescott was in like Carolina, nobody would give a crap about him. They'd be like, "Oh, okay, that decent quarterback in Carolina."
So let's talk about a team let's go from a team who just squeezed into the playoffs like the Raiders to one that it took them about half a year to figure shit out, but now that they've like righted the ship and everything is right, the Kansas City Chiefs are playing really good right now, JD. Like really good. They have got to be like one of the favorites for the AFC title picture. I mean, that team it took them half a year to figure, to really like get things rolling, but they're picking up right where they left off last year. They're rolling at the right time.
Their play designs were like, what the F is happening right now?
Yeah.
It was mind blowing. I was like, where's the ball going? I have no idea. So no, they are primed. They are completely primed to play. And I think the real Super Bowl of the league is going to be next week in the divisional round, where it's going to be the Bills, who have been a juggernaut all season, and it's been the Chiefs, who are becoming a juggernaut right now. So yeah. I really think this is going to be a very good game next week. Excuse me, against the Bills and the Chiefs. Obviously, I think the Chiefs have more talent than anyone in the entire NFL that's currently in the playoffs. Well, period. I think the Chiefs are going to go back to the Super Bowl. I think unless the Bills can make an amazing comeback, or not a comeback, but an amazing upset. Unless the Bills can upset them here, I think they're going to the playoffs. I think somebody asked earlier, who do I think is going to be in the playoffs, or excuse me, in the Super Bowl? I think it's going to be Bucks and Chiefs again, man. I think I'm going to run it right back. But what do you think there, or what do you think about the Chiefs?
Dude, they're like I said, it took them about a half a year to really like get things rolling. But I could absolutely see a run back of last year of the Chiefs and Bucks. Because here's the thing, right? Let's be honest. The NFC title game is going to be the Packers and Bucks going at. It's going to be Rodgers and Brady going at it.
I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
It will be. And guess what? That's going to be never mind the friggin' Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady in the NFC title game is going to be the best game of the year.
It was last year too. So yeah, I actually agree.
That's going to be the best game of the year.
If it's not Chiefs in the Bills, yeah, it'll be the Bucks and the Bucks and the Packers. I think if the Packers can make the Super Bowl against the Chiefs or the Bills, that would also be a really good game to watch. So we still got quite a few like really awesome teams to look forward to this year. But yeah, I also can see the Packers losing against the Chiefs or the Niners. FJ Dick King. But yeah, I'm not sure. Everything's up in the air. It's going to be
another team. Like you can't see people slept on the 49ers because they had a really slow start too. Yeah. Dude, they're figuring some stuff out too. They're figuring, you know what it is too? They've had some pretty like wins where they've had to grind it out too, and they've found, they found a way to beat Dallas yesterday, and they had to really grind that win out.
Yeah, they figured out ways, and they really controlled the time of the clock. And I think the run design for the Niners is unparalleled. I don't think anyone runs the ball like they do. It starts with juice, but it ultimately, it starts with Kyle Shanahan, but it ends with juice. Juice check or something like that.
Use check, Frank. Use check. Yeah,
he's a freaking beast, man. He was
the fullback. Yeah, the fullback. Yeah.
He's a nose tackle, just he is as strong as they come. And it didn't like that. What was his name? Elijah Mitchell. He was running all over the place.
Yeah.
And Jimmy G looked a little frazzled in the pocket at times. But ultimately, but the Cowboys have a good defense. That's another reason why he put some pressure on Jimmy G. There was no question about that. But you're right. They're figuring it out. They have a lot of weapons at their disposal. And if people forget, they were just in the Super Bowl not too long ago. So it's not that far from the realm of possibility that they could be back in the Super Bowl this year.
No doubt. No doubt, dude. KC, like there's a lot of teams that started real slow that have it took them half a season and they're hitting their peak at the right time.
Especially Kansas City. My God, that was domination against the Steelers. That was just absolute domination. They doubled the spread, didn't they?
Yeah.
We'll see, like 12 points. They got like 24. Man, that's bad.
So let's switch it up to some basketball, JD. Let's talk some balls.
Good NFL talk, but yeah,
Chicago Bulls fans got to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. Zach LaVine's MRI comes back negative. No structural damage done to the knee, so that is a massive plus for him.
Yeah, that's huge. No, that was definitely big. We have some tough losses recently. Jeez, it's one of those bad days for me, but for my throat and everything. But I was going to say we had a couple bad losses against the. Pretty sure the Nets blew us out the other night.
Yeah,
and it's been without LaVine, it'll be hard. How long does it say rehab? Is it like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I think it's 3 weeks. I think
3 weeks or something like that. So it'll be a while until we get him back. Got to keep on trucking.
You figure that's like 15 games. 3 weeks is probably like 15 games.
Yeah, we're gonna miss him for a while. And we definitely will miss him. He's a lightning rod, and him and DeMar play together really well, way better than you would have thought. FJ the King says, as a Bulls fan, we don't stand a chance against the good teams. That's what we were talking. We've been talking about that in a lot of different podcasts, basically saying that, like, do they have the star power
to face off against some of the better teams? Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say that, and especially in a 7-game series. And Warriors blew us out. I forgot about that. Yeah, the Warriors blew us out back to back. So these are the best teams in the league right now.
Yeah. So you gotta kind of take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, though, because those are the top tier teams in the league, though.
They are, and we have some room to grow. That's something we're number one in the East for now.
So that's a perfect segue into I wanna propose to you a couple of trades and get your thoughts.
Let's go.
So this is from Fansided. So we're getting these from Fansided guys. So the first one is the Chicago Bulls trade for Harrison Barnes to bolster the forward depth. What do you think about that?
Well, who are we trading? I would love that. Just some picks.
Let me read farther into it.
I would love Harrison Barnes. He's a good 20-point-a-game guy, and
they don't specify. So here's the thing: what would you trade? Here's my next question: what would you trade for Harrison Barnes?
Kobe White and a first-round pick. Well, no, not a first-round pick. No,
second round maybe.
Yeah, I'd trade Kobe White and a second-round pick, and maybe some cash. Some cap cash. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't break the bank for him. Honestly, Kobe White, I don't even know if I want to trade him, but
so here's all right. So I did find the trade. I found the details. Okay. Here we go. All right. So the Bulls get Harrison Barnes and Ramsey And the Sacramento Kings would get Kobe White, Derek Jones Jr., and Troy Brown Jr.
Yeah, I would do that.
You would do that?
Yeah, I would do that. Derek Jones Jr. hasn't been the lightning rod. I think that they
Hoped, right?
They hoped. I mean, they got him for nothing. They got him for absolutely nothing. So, I mean, he hasn't been the lightning rod off the bench, and I think that Harrison Barnes would probably be better in that role. And what we got to pay for his contract for a little bit, and then it's out, and then we can maybe renegotiate with him. So it's not that. What is his contract, like $25 million? Yeah, you could probably do that. You could probably swing that. Say, JD, don't be Jerry Jones. I'll try not to be. I wouldn't trade Caruso. I would trade Brown. Sure, I'd trade Brown. I'd trade Derek Jones Jr. I'd trade maybe Kobe White. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't go any further than that. I would go second round draft pick. I'm not gonna go first round draft pick for Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes is a good player, but he's not gonna change. He's not gonna make us a title contender. That's for sure. He ain't that guy.
All right, hold on one sec.
Sure, take your time.
So let's say forward depth, right? With Barnes. What else? So here's my next question for you. What else would it take for Chicago to be able to face off with, Golden State, with the Bucks, with, what would it take for them to be able to stand toe to toe with them?
Oh man, it's really hard to say. It really is. I want to say, I want to say a star. Like, we need like a Luka Doncic or a Kevin Durant, or we need one more star, in my opinion, to top it off. And I know that's such a huge order. It's something that you almost can't even comprehend. Like, it's something that ultimately, and it's why I'm a little sad, because when I say that, because it makes me think like, okay, we'll never win a title with this team. And I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that in the playoffs we start to see some guys like Levine become superstars and stuff like that. But ultimately, if you're asking me like right now, what would it take? It would take like a Kevin Durant or a Luka Doncic. It's
like a legitimate superstar, right? Yeah.
Superstar. We need one. That's it. We need one superstar. We have a bunch of stars. We have like 4 stars. We need one superstar. That's what it would take. Even a Jimmy Butler would be, if he came back to the Bulls, we could go to the finals with him easily with Jimmy Butler. It's hard for me to think of anybody else though.
Let me propose another trade to you. All right.
Sure.
The Chicago Bulls trade for Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant.
Yeah,
Jeremy Grant. So the Bulls get Grant, Jeremy Grant, and Rodney Magruder, and they trade to the Pistons Kobe White, Troy Brown, Derek Jones, and a first.
No way. No way.
That's too much?
That's way too much. I would do Kobe White and Brown straight up, and that's it.
And no, straight up. No,
that's it.
Take the pick out.
Yeah, because Jeremy Grant, again, it's the same thing. It's even worse than Harrison Barnes. Like, he's definitely not going to bring us a championship.
Yeah, Harrison Barnes would actually add to the team.
And like Grant, I know Grant's good. I'm not trying to say he's not, but no, Karam, we're doing hypothetical deadline trades right now. I know he's a good player. It's just, if we're going to trade anyone, if we are going to trade anyone, it should be either for the future or win now. And Jeremy Grant is neither of those. He's neither of those. He's not going to be for the future because he's like going on 30 almost. He's not the future, and he's not win now. He in my opinion, he maybe gives you like 2%. If you traded Kobe White and Brown right now, that's it, right? if you did that trade, yeah, maybe we were like 2% better, maybe 3.
Yeah.
I know Jeremy Grant's good. I'm not even trying to disparage Jeremy Grant. It's just we already have guys that are doing his role. You know what I mean? Like we already have the premier scorer. We already have some rebounders. We have Vucevic.
Yeah.
We already have that guy. So no, I like right now. See, here's the thing: with the Pistons, Jeremy Grant's a star. With the Bulls, he would just kind of fit in somewhere.
He's a bench guy. He's a bench guy. With the Chicago Bulls, he's a bench guy.
You know, I do like Jeremy Grant. It's just I don't think he's gonna make us win a championship. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
So let's get back on the pike and go east, and let's again talk about a team that's not so good, but they're recently playing better. The last 6 games for the Celtics, they are 5-1. And newsflash, I still don't believe in them.
Yeah, they're coming back though. They
don't fall for it, Celtic fans.
It's amazing.
Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Have they played good? Yeah, they definitely have played. They definitely have played better. But don't. I'm not telling you not to root for them, but don't fall into that trap of just blind. Like they still got a lot of work to do, and they don't have the star power on the team to are they playing better? Absolutely. They absolutely are. They have looked a lot better in the last 6 games. They've looked a lot better. They're 5-1, I think. They're still the same team. Nothing's changed. They're just playing better. And like you had said, JD, this is and especially nowadays, this is a superstar driven league. If you don't have at least one or two legitimate top 20 guys, it's tough sledding. You're not going to go much of anywhere in the playoffs without that star power.
No, yeah. I mean, I agree. And I think that if they can get it going with Simmons, or rather, it's crazy. I'm going to say something that's an incredibly hot take. All right, I think it's burning right now. Actually, I just thought of it because it's true. It's actually how I feel right now. The Celtics are closer to an NBA championship in my eyes than the Bulls.
See, I don't know if I believe. I don't know.
They have 2 guys that have the potential to be superstars. The problem is they have their heads directly up their own asses. Both of them.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem is.
Pull their head out of their ass, they could really go. They could make a run.
That's the problem. They can't play with each other. Remember how you were saying that guys don't. I don't know. It's hard for me. See, I've been through this, and it's like they'll have a 6-game win, like a 5-game. They'll go 5-1 like they are right now, and then in 2 days, 3 days, they'll lose 8 in a row. It's like this is what they are. Until they get a legitimate superstar, legitimate stud, this is what they are. They're a 500, maybe slightly above 500 team.
Cool Genuine Phil says Celtics would be legit if they got Simmons. And so did Rick. Oh, wow.
I don't know. But
he shrinks under pressure, though. That's what
I'm talking about. You can't, Simmons' attitude about how he, you need a guy who's not going to be fazed by not going to be fazed by the spotlight. Because even on off nights, if you if you don't perform in this city, they eat you alive.
And also, here's another huge thing with that. The reason why the Celtics are the very last people to get Simmons is because the Celtics are not going to deliver. The Celtics are not going to deliver either Tatum or Brown down the I-90 to Philadelphia. So unless there's a 3-team trade there, they're not going to do that. They're not going to deliver one of the best scorers in the East, both of these guys, to Philadelphia, because that would make Philadelphia a title contender. That was just every time they're going to be. They already are a title contender, but it'd be over. They'd be a wrap, in my opinion. If Philadelphia had Tatum or Brown, it's over. The league it's who's going to match up with them if they have them. If they have Harris, Curry, Embiid, all those guys, Thibault,
Harris, Curry, Embiid,
it'd be
Tatum, Brown.
huge.
Think about that lineup though, dude. Harris, Curry, Embiid, Tatum, Brown.
So yeah, from literally like being in the East, being literally like your neighbor. No, they're not going to do. They would be insane if they did that. They really would. Now, would it help the Celtics? Yeah, probably. I would imagine that a lot of their problems with like the ball distribution, it would probably help them. But I would want, if I'm doing that, if I'm the Celtics and I want Ben Simmons really bad, I want a 3-team trade and I want Brown to go somewhere else. That's the way I see it. Well,
And I've been yelling about this for a long time, man, and it's just it's the chemistry with the Celtics, and until it changes, until they see some major shakeup, it's just not like there's not much to talk about with them. Until you see a major shakeup, this is what you're gonna get. This is the product you're gonna get. You're gonna get, 5-1, and then 2-7. You know what I mean? And then 5-1 again, and then 2-7. It's just that's what they are. That's who they are. And until they change that, it's just going to be rinse, wash, and repeat.
Yeah, I mean, they have so much potential too, and I think deep down they all know it. I think deep down they're like, we were in the Eastern Conference Finals 3 years ago. Like, we're not that far removed from success, and we have all the young core. It's a matter of putting it together, trusting in each other, embracing each other's talents, and embracing the team, the city that has chemistry. So, and Cool Genuine Phil's right. They don't have enough shooters. Terrence Ross would be really good on the Celtics. If they could swing that trade, I'd be for that. That'd be
Barnes and Hield would fit good here too.
Hield makes a crap load of money, but yeah, that'd be a good fit.
When has money ever been a problem for the Celtics?
That's true. You could dip into the luxury tax. You're right. They definitely could.
But that's what I mean. Hield or Barnes would fit good here too.
He said Simmons just needs a new environment. Maybe you're right. Maybe you put Simmons with the Celtics and you give him Tatum and he really is a superstar. Who knows?
You have to be specific with Ben Simmons too. Don't say, Ben, don't go outside your game. We need you to be down low. We just want you to be a monster down low. That's it.
Dive to the basket and pass, get people open. Really dive down into the paint and get people open. I agree with you, Phil. Like I do think that like his ineptitudes are a little bit overrated, or exactly not overrated, but overstated. And I think it's a lot to do with his collapse in the playoffs. When somebody collapses in the playoffs and just craps themselves in the playoffs, it's like you have a spotlight on you. You know what I mean? Like at that point, like everyone looks at you. So I think that was definitely mentally, like it's something he has to get over. If he can overcome that mental hurdle, who knows what he could be? He could be a complete superstar in this league, and he could make us forget about that collapse.
Yeah. I
don't know. It is interesting. I agree. They do need to shake things up before the trade deadline, I believe. If the Celtics want to make a serious run at this thing, because they're the 10th seed, 11th?
They're like 11, I think.
In the East. So they're right above the Hawks. I know the Hawks just fell below them, and the Hawks are collapsing. That's a whole other thing we can talk about sometimes.
Yeah,
Hawks are collapsing. I don't know what's happening with them. But you're right. I mean, Simmons is a talented guy, but where does he fit? That's kind of, it's like maybe he does fit with the Celtics. Maybe he fits somewhere else. It's hard.
If you just tell him, look, Ben, we just want you to crash the boards, and if you can, if you could shoot a layup, we're fine.
I think Philly wanted him to be that superstar,
and he couldn't, and he just couldn't.
It's not mental. It's not mentally his. I don't think he's mature enough to be that superstar.
No,
like he's just like as a basketball player. I don't think he's mature enough. I think he loves being a celebrity. That's what Ben Simmons likes, and he's super talented at basketball. But is he ready to be the face of? Like Joel Embiid was crying his eyes out when he lost.
Yeah,
he was playing with a hyperextended knee and a messed up shoulder. He's the leader of that team. So Simmons has to buy into that, and I don't think he has. I think he looks at Joel as like a big brother, and he doesn't want to buy into that. He's like, no, I'm a superstar too. No, you're not. You're just a good player. That's all.
Yeah. No doubt, man. But you got anything else, JD?
No, my guy. I mean, it's been a good week. I'm really excited. I'm excited for tonight, and I'm really excited for the divisional round. So I think I'll have a lot more to say about football, especially during the divisional round. Also, the NBA, it's so slow right now, my guy. It's just so slow. Like, I cannot wait until things start to ramp up in the NBA. Things get a little bit more interesting. But until then,
it's almost like mid-season like this. It's like, I don't want to say they stop trying, but it's not like max effort every night because they know it's a long season.
Yeah, it's a long season, and I feel like a lot of people don't try their hardest.
They're trying to preserve. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying it might not be max effort at this point. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it's not. They're not exactly, and it doesn't look like max effort either. Really quick, while we have a little bit of time, just really quick, who do you think will be in the Super Bowl this year? Let's end it with that because that's interesting.
I mean, I could see a repeat of last year. I could, because as good as Buffalo is, they're not beating Kansas City in Arrowhead, in the playoffs, in that hostile environment. It might be a better game than it was last year. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I could see a repeat. And I will give Aaron Rodgers all the credit in the world, because if he does make it and he does beat Tom Brady to get to the Super Bowl, then that dude then you just knocked off you know what I mean? Like that's a good Buccaneers team. But I think I could see a repeat. I could see Chiefs and Bucks having a second go at it.
I kind of agree with you there. I definitely think it's the Chiefs. The NFC is a little bit more interesting. I think the Chiefs are going to roll to the Super Bowl again, though, because they just turning it on at the right time. They really are. They just all right, guys, playoff time. Boop. Everyone's playing so well. Kelsey was playing amazing. That running back McKinnon, where did he come from? He's playing amazing. And then you got Hill. The play design is so good. They're so disciplined, and I just think that'll carry on to the Super Bowl. And he said, I think the Green Bay Packers are everyone's sleeping on. I don't think anyone's sleeping on them. It's just
they can't beat the Bucs. That's the problem. The Packers are going to run into a massive problem, and his name is Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, and people forget he threw. I think he had 2 interceptions and a fumble against the Packers, and the Bucs still won the game last year. So you have a lot to overcome with the Bucs. Like, that game shouldn't have even been that close. If Tom Brady, and I don't think Tom Brady's going to make those same mistakes again. Ultimately, everyone has a chance at the Super Bowl. Even the Bengals do right now. I really believe that. Even the Titans have a chance. Everyone has a chance this year. But I do agree. If I had to, gun to my head, I got to choose 2 teams. It's probably the Bucs and the Chiefs as well.
If anybody beats the Bucs, if anybody knocks off Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, it's a massive upset. Like, massive upset.
It really is. It really is, and it'll be really. I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait for that game. But we might not even see it.
No, dude, we're gonna see it. Both. I mean, Rodgers doesn't like. Those guys, you know how they are, dude. We've watched it for 15 years now. When they get in the playoffs, nothing's going to deny them. You know what I mean? And it's a mirror image. Like, Brady and Rodgers are both, they're the, probably 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league right now.
Mount Rushmore.
And they've been that way for 15 years. And it's like, that's 2 juggernauts going at each other.
It definitely is. It's probably one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever play the game versus the most accomplished and winningest quarterback to ever play the game. So it's when it's like an immovable object beats an unstoppable force. It's kind of it's pretty crazy.
I'm sticking to if they play each other in the NFC title game, it's going to that game is going to be better than the Super Bowl. That's going to be the best game of the year.
Yeah, it'll definitely be. If that, I think you're right. Either that or the Bills and Chiefs. That'll be a really good game. I can't wait for it. We've already had some good games this year, and we're blessed, man. We've had some good, this wild card weekend was really good, and it's not over. We got the Cardinals and the Rams tonight.
I'm kind of rooting for the underdog. I want to see the Bengals make a good run. I want to see them go.
See that.
You know what I mean? Because they're the. I mean, talk about the underdog. They're the true underdog in these playoffs.
I think they are too. I think nobody thinks the Bengals can make the Super Bowl. Nobody thinks the Bengals can even make the AFC title game, but they're right there. They have a chance. So I would love to see it. The Bengals are very interesting. I'm sure we'll have more NBA to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about some more potential trades next time too. But there's just not much going on in the NBA, unfortunately. It's kind of just like you said, it hasn't ramped up yet.
This is that weird like middle of the season like these guys. The real veterans know this. It's a grind. The NBA season's a long season, right?
It is.
So they give an effort? Yeah, they obviously go out there and they try hard and they want to win, but it's not like they're gonna it's not like 1,000% max effort, because they know if they do that every single night, they're gonna be burnt out by game 30.
Absolutely. Well, what's incredible to me, this will be the last thing I say. Sorry, I'm going on.
You're good, man. You're good. Go for it.
LeBron James said the other day that the Lakers will be better. They're sub 500 right now. They're fighting with the Clippers for the 9th seed. Well, I guess they're fighting with a bunch of teams for the 8th seed. I don't think the Lakers are going to make the playoffs this year. Valhalla Sports, I hope you're in the chat, my guy. This is the Lakers hate you were waiting for. I don't see them making the playoffs this year, buddy. I don't.
They got a big hill to climb. I know that.
I don't know who's a better team, the Sacramento Kings or the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know who's a better team, or the Clippers without PG-13 and Kawhi. Who's a better team? And that's crazy. So it is LeBron James balling the F out. Yes, he is. But his team sucks. He can only overcome so much. He's 37. He's 30.
But see, that's the other thing that people don't understand is that LeBron can only overcome so much now. There's only so much he can do before he needs help, because you know what it is too? The rest of the league got better.
They did. They got younger, faster, better shooters. They spaced LeBron out more. Also, LeBron, he's dropping like 30-something a game the last week and a half. He's absolutely balling out of his mind, and they're still losing games. Yeah. And also, let's say LeBron does drag this team by the collar, by the ear, all the way to the playoffs. Let's say he drags them to the playoffs. You think they're going to win? With LeBron James doing everything? I don't think so. I don't think so.
But see, this year's weird, though, because last year he got a bunch of help from everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last year, that's how they won the title. Is he got a bunch of help from his team. His teammates helped him in the efforts in these games. It seems like LeBron's having to do pretty much everything now.
Yeah, during 2020, it's like I think it's a repeat of last year, only even worse now, because AD is not stepping up. He still hasn't stepped up, and he's been hurt. Now he's hurt, I guess, again.
But see, that's the huge thing is that last year, the 2020 season, 2020, 2021 season, AD was healthy. For the most part, he was okay. I should say that
still lost.
He was healthy when it mattered.
Russ is the problem, JD. He's not the only problem, but yeah, he is the problem. Russ, I don't think, if you just look at his PER, if you just look at Russ's player efficiency rating, it's terrible. It's
not good.
It's there with Melo. So I know it's not the Bible, but
Russ is the biggest detriment that Westbrook has is that he's a turnover machine.
Yes, he throws games away, and it's not just his fault, but he's a symptom of a larger problem.
If the Lakers do make the playoffs, it's gonna you could credit LeBron and AD for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Russ is at his best. Exactly, you're going to credit LeBron and AD for that. Russ is at his best when he hustles really hard, plays modestly, and defers. That's when he's at his best. When he's hustling, because Russell's hustle is unmatched. No one is a more hustle. No one hustles more in the NBA history than Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, he does way too much. Like you just said, Crown. He does so many things that he doesn't need to do. And he honestly shoots himself in the foot way too often, especially late in the game. And that's when, late in the game, give the ball to LeBron. For God's sake, Russell, give the ball to LeBron. What are you doing? You have a man who's been to the finals 10 times in a row, and you don't want to give him the ball in crunch time because you're the point guard? No.
Well, that's when Russ, like you were saying, that's when he needs to defer and be like, I'm just gonna feed LeBron and AD and let them finish this game off.
Exactly. Yeah, and just let him finish the game. He's LeBron James. You're not. So let him do it. And I don't even like LeBron, but man, LeBron is 10 times better, especially in the clutch, than Russell Westbrook.
That's the biggest difference, though, is when they won the title in the bubble, right? Mm-hmm. Like LeBron was getting help from his team. He's not getting anything from any of them now.
He was averaging like 12 assists a game because he was literally just, oh, you're open. Oh, you're open too. Oh, you're open too. Oh yeah. And also look at Kuzma. Oh my God. Have you seen Kuzma lately? 27 points a game, 9 rebounds over the last 15 games. He is balling out of his mind. And the Lakers had him. They could have signed him to they could have extended his contract. He would have accepted that extension, and they didn't. Yeah. So man, it's just everything.
That's a whole nother thing that me and you could talk about too. That's a whole nother topic that we could even get into. How much talent they lost in the offseason.
So much.
They lost a lot.
Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso.
Yeah.
It just
those guys were like sixth man for the Lakers. You know what I mean? Like they helped propel that. LeBron lost a lot in free agency last year. They lost a lot of talent.
They did. They lost so much talent, and it was a lot of LeBron's decisions. So you reap what you sow. You didn't like Kuzma, and Kuzma joked about it too. Kuzma said, "I'm feeling like LeBron. You guys better watch how you talk to me during the trade deadline." Because because it's like a long running joke now. LeBron will get you traded. He's two-faced. He's a two-faced person, and he is a very talented basketball player, but he's a two-faced person. I love you, Kyle. Oh, Kuz, my guy. We got to trade this guy. This guy's pissing me the fuck off. That's what he does. Lonzo, me and Lonzo are really titles together.
And does it surprise you? Because it really doesn't to me. No, not at all.
He has a big head, big ego, and he deserves one, but not that much.
But that's definitely like the Lakers. If they make the playoffs, it's going to be tough. Whoever they're going to have to really scratch and fight and claw because they're going to have they're going to have it cut out for them. That's for sure.
Just like last year, nobody talks about LeBron was an 8th seed last year.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. That's a really, really big deal. So that's all I have to say about the NBA. I'll have more to say once it gets a little bit closer to playoff time, but I don't see the Lakers making the playoffs. I don't see the Clippers making the playoffs. I don't see either making the playoffs.
And here's the thing about the trade deadline too. I don't see there being a lot of movement this year. I don't think there's going to be a lot of movement.
Nothing pops out. So yeah, nothing sticks out in my head. Like for instance, the Lakers, they're handcuffed. They have nothing to give. Who are you going to trade?
Well, that's the situation that's they're like you said, they're handcuffed because of the situation they're in.
Nobody wants Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
What's up, Anthony? Nobody wants Russell Westbrook. So nobody's.
And if they do give Russ away, then they're gonna have to eat a lot. You know what I mean? They're gonna lose that trade. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I just can't, man. No, yeah, I agree. I don't see them making the playoffs, and it's an uphill climb if they do. That's kind of what I want to say about the Lakers. But it's been interesting topics, my guy, and I cannot wait for tonight's game and the divisional round. The divisional round is going to be lit. Oh my God, it's going to be so good.
We're gonna this year's playoffs are going to be really good. They are. This year's playoffs going to be really good.
I agree. Yeah, the both NFL and NBA playoffs are going to be phenomenal. Crom says, I hope the Clippers miss the playoffs, JD, so the Thunder can get another first round pick. Is that how it works? That's pretty funny. I didn't know that. That's funny. Well, hey, they got a good chance of missing the playoffs, bro. They have a very good chance, especially with PG hurt. So
yeah, no doubt.
Hey, good. Thanks for hanging out, Rick. Much love to you. You're seriously.
Once again, though, guys, the live. So for those of you guys who are listening on the playback or you're new to the channel, this podcast is going to be up on. It'll be up on my channel, and then it'll be up on JD's I-90 Sports Talk, and then he cuts up the segments as well. So like, if there's a specific segment you want to listen to, you can just. That's his. JD, can you put the link for your I-90 one in there?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry about that.
And so if you guys are into Call of Duty, me and JD play a lot of Call of Duty in the off time.
We do.
And he's got a Call of Duty. He's got a gaming channel that he does that on. He can throw that in the live chat as
I'll do
well.
that one
So
first.
subscribe to that.
Yeah, I swear I get more views on that one lately. It's like people love gaming. That's for sure. I love it. Here, let me just.
But that's a lot of fun too, because we'll be playing Call of Duty and talking sports at the same time. So it never quits.
Yeah, if you want some like some sports talk and everything like that, while you're watching some gaming, yeah, we definitely talk about sports, especially when me and Bobby are in. Here, I'll put that in the chat. But yeah, it's we got new intro where we got a
the new intro on that JD made up is fire, guys. It's good.
It basically I'm proud of the intro because it really shows what our show is about. You know what I mean? Like it really, and I worked hard on that one because I wanted something to just a quick 1 minute thing showing what are we about, what is this podcast going to be about, and that's what it is. And so thank you guys for all your support. It really is amazing. It really is amazing.
But once again though, like we do this right because like literally me and JD have thrown on ESPN and it's just like I can't watch it for more than like 2 minutes. It's so bad. I can't watch it for more than 2 minutes because it's just terrible.
It's mind-numbingly stupid. It's amazingly stupid. Like I was trying to listen to radio last night on about Big Ben. I wanted to hear the post press conference and everything. The second the press conference was over, COVID-19. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about COVID. I'm like, dude, oh my God, shut up! Like we just had the playoffs. This is the playoffs, and then Dan Patrick talked
with all the storylines going on that they couldn't, you know what I mean? Yeah, with all the storylines going on, like just, dude, they could have talked about anything. Brady, the Brady versus Rodgers matchup that we could see this year, like anything, like
a million topics they have.
Dallas collapsing, like there's 15 different storylines they could go with.
It's basically CNN.
But like, it just drives me nuts because like I just want to put sports talk radio on and hear sports talk radio.
That's all we ever wanted. I swear since 2019 it's been nonstop crap. Like I don't care about any of the things. You said you put one show
on and they talked about Sex in the City for like
dude.
10 minutes.
What? I put on, dude, Dan Patrick. I used to think Dan Patrick was a legend. But if you just go by this year of what he's talked about, it's been nothing but hot garbage. It's been COVID, racism. They're arguing if they have enough black coaches. I'm like, dude, I don't care about any of this kind of Sex in the City. I don't care about any of that crap. I literally want to know, what are you talking about?
What are the storylines going on right now?
On the field, like in the locker room. What's the insider scoop? Like you guys get millions and millions and millions of billions of dollars, and you talk about Sex in the City? What are you talking about? Anyway, that's just I'm off my rant.
That's my thing too. It's like there's 15 other storylines you could go with, and that's your direction you went in. It's like, come on now.
This should be the last thing you talk about. Oh my God, and Kyrie Irving. I remember the beginning of the basketball season. If you flipped on TV, you would have no idea what's happening in the NBA. None. It's all Kyrie Irving didn't get vaccinated. Oh my God, he didn't get it. Dude, I don't give a shit. I don't care about Kyrie Irving's life. I just want to know who's playing tonight. Like, is Kyrie Irving playing? Oh, he's not playing. Well, then shut the fuck up about him. I'm just saying.
But see, this is why we do it though, because like We don't care about personal decision shit. It's stupid. That's a personal decision. Who gives a shit? We talk about the storylines that are going on in the NFL, NBA, NHL. Like we talk about sports because that's what the channel's about, and that's what we like doing.
Absolutely, man. No, I love it. I love our show. I love our podcast. It's so fun. And thank you guys, all the listeners from my heart, to the guys on my channel, to the guys from Bean Down, the member gang. You guys are the freaking best, and no one is better than you guys in the whole world.
We do have a solid fan base. We do have a solid fan base.
You guys make it so much fun, and it adds so much to the topics. So appreciate it.
And they know their stuff, dude. They add to the show. Like, don't ever get it twisted, guys. You guys add to the show.
They do. Well, sports fans, I think in general, this is why it's so insulting for ESPN and all these other things to like be this stupid and woke and weird about everything, to all this political nonsense, is because sports fans are smart. Like, we pay attention to the games. We actually watch them. We actually love sports. So whenever you try to just show your, oh, there's this cancer kid today, and oh, there's this, it's like, we don't care, dude. Like, we're not watching the Hallmark Channel. We're not watching CNN. We're here to talk about sports. Like, I could sit here and watch NFL films for hours. I could watch Man in the Arena for hours. That stuff I love. I love sports, man. I want to hear about what happens on the field. I want to hear about the insider stuff. But anyway, I love sports.
Because there's compelling stories there, and they just want to ignore them.
Yeah, exactly. And I got my Bulls.
I hear you, dude. But that's why we do it, though, because we love what we do. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just a passion. You know what I mean? But there you go.
Tom Brady.
The fans really, guys. You guys make the show, and me and JD really do. Like, we like interacting with all of you guys and hanging out with you. It's always a good time. But episode 24 in the books, JD.
In the books. Almost
a quarter way to 100. We're banging them out, man. But thank you again to anybody listening on the playback to iHeart, on iHeart. The live broadcast is here on Beantown Breakdown on YouTube. So if you're interested in asking us a question that you want us to answer, you can tune in there. And then my guy JD has the chopped up version of the show and the full version on his channel. So if you want to watch a specific segment, you can just check his channel out. That's I-90 Sports Talk. And if you're not subscribed, go and subscribe to that channel because it helps both of us out. And then JD has his me and him do a lot of gaming. So if you're interested in the gaming aspect of stuff, and if you want to come and hang out and even play with us, play a game of Warzone with us, we're always down. We play a lot, and that's the Cheerio Plays channel. So go and check that out. And we're more than happy to play some Warzone with you guys and hang out with you off camera too.
Absolutely.
But thanks again, guys. Episode 24 in the books. JD, hit him with it.
See Red, bear down. Let's go, baby. Till next year.
And you know what it is. Go Pats, go Bruins, go Celtics, go Pats. We out of here. And the Red Sox. Go Patriots, Bruins, Sox. And I feel like
you got a Bruins game coming up, don't you?
There is a Bruins game. But thanks again, guys.
Tune in.
We're out of here. We love y'all. We're gone. Peace.
Love you.